It was January 12th, 1968. Remembers the executive vice chairman of a Kolkata-based engineering company. He says, "I was a greenhorn trying to bring about some discipline in the factory to save it from liquidation." One day, the executive was returning home from the factory. His car was bombed. The boys had hurled the bomb from a distance, their faces covered. The driver was seriously injured. Blood was oozing from the executive's ears and head. One of his eardrums had burst and the splinters from the windscreen had penetrated his skull. "I was not killed because they thought me to be dead," says the executive.
Neelkant Ratnakar Dongre, a young and upcoming executive of J Engineering Works, was surrounded in the factory by workers who were out to cause mayhem. The stocky executive loaded all the important papers in a truck, smashed it through a wall, and drove it non-stop till he reached Delhi, where its owner, Lala Charat Ram, lived. Impressed by his loyalty, Charat Ram would one day make Dongre his partner in business. As the attacks intensified, recalls industrialist S.K. Birla, many responsible owners gave up on business and transferred ownership. There was no security. Every flight that we took out of Kolkata, we carried a bag full of belongings, including jewellery. It was the worst of times, another industrialist recalls.
Jessup and Company, Braithwaite, Byrne and Company, Indian Standard Wagon, JKW, then Gaskin Williams and Metalbox. All of these hugely influential and job-producing companies were all affected.
Workers were paid only minimum wages. This was followed by labor disputes and lockouts in many of the companies that lasted more than a year, marking their decline.
Welcome to Bespoke Bengali. This is your host, Oswald.
And this is Sensei Prekin Zero as usual.
So today we are going to talk about the dramatic fall of Bengal economically and how it happened and why it happened and who is to blame. West Bengal emerged from independence as an industrial and commercial powerhouse. In the early 1960s, Calcutta, now Kolkata, was one of India's leading economic centers with a per capita income 127.5%. I repeat, 127.5% above the national average and contributing an astounding 10.5% of India's GDP, the third highest among states.
However, this dominance proved short-lived. The partition of Bengal dealt a severe blow by severing traditional markets and supply chains, especially for industries like jute and textiles, and flooding West Bengal with refugees. The new state lost access to the resource-rich hinterlands of East Bengal, now Bangladesh, and Assam, disrupting its age-old trade routes.
West Bengal's economic slide began as early as the 1960s, well before liberalization. During the tumultuous 1960s and 70s, Bengal was also rocked by political instability. As we mentioned in our opening credits, the horrendous situations which actually led to President's rule, short-lived coalition governments and Naxalite uprising, along with the terrible state of Bengal's private sector plagued by constant militant unionism which scared away capital.
The state's once thriving industries, jute mills, engineering, chemicals, started decaying. In 1977, a communist government led by the CPIM took charge and would rule for 34 years. While the left front initiated progressive land reforms, that is Operation Burger, and bolstered the agrarian economy, its industrial policy proved detrimental. A narrative took hold that militant trade unionism of left parties ruined West Bengal's industries, as frequent strikes and labor militancy made investors wary.
Major businesses were relocated. Notably, the Birlas and Goenkas shifted new investment to other states. No significant new industrial project took off in Bengal for decades, even as states like Maharashtra, Gujarat, Tamil Nadu were rapidly industrializing. The result was a long phase of deindustrialization. As one analysis notes, over more than 6 decades following independence, industry in West Bengal has steadily gone downhill.
By 1991, when India embraced economic liberalization, West Bengal had already lost much ground. Its share of India's GDP had fallen to around 7.9% by 1990-1991 from 10.5% in 1960. Unfortunately, the state failed to capitalize on liberalization thereafter. While states like Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh transformed into IT and services hubs, Bengal lagged. Investors continued to shun the state due to its reputation for hostile unions and red tape. Economist Sanjeev Sanyal notes Bengal's decline wasn't inevitable but actively contributed to by poor leadership and policies, a series of state finance ministers who resisted pro-market reforms.
Indeed, West Bengal largely missed the 1990s boom that lifted other regions. Even after the CPIM under Buddhadev Bhattacharya attempted an industry-friendly turn in 2000s, efforts like inviting the Tata Nano factory to Singur faltered. The single land acquisition became controversial and was ultimately reversed.
Economic trajectory in numbers. West Bengal's relative decline is stark when viewed alongside other states. In 1960-61, 5 states, Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, West Bengal, Tamil Nadu and Bihar, made up over half of India's GDP. Among them, West Bengal saw the steepest fall.
By 2023-2024, Bengal's GDP share was just 5.6%, nearly halved from 1960 and the lowest in its modern history. West Bengal has seen a continuous decline, especially relative to fast-growing peers. Tamil Nadu dipped initially but then rebounded after 1991, rising to 8.9% of GDP by 2023-24, slightly above its 1960 level. Maharashtra managed to retain top spot though, even increasing marginally, now accounting for about 13.3% of India's GDP, the largest among states. West Bengal, once nearly on par with Tamil Nadu, is now barely half of Tamil Nadu's share.
This relative fall has real implications for income and jobs. In 1960, Bengal's per capita income was the third highest in India, more than 25% above the national average. Today, Bengal's per capita income is 16% below the national average. In 1981, West Bengal's per capita was actually higher than Karnataka's. By 2021, Karnataka's was 111% higher than Bengal's, an absolutely dramatic reversal. Notably, Bengal also lags in growth. From 2012 to 23, West Bengal averaged only about 4.5% of the annual GSDP growth, placing it among the slowest growing states among the bottom 5. In recent years, states like Uttar Pradesh have grown at the rate of 11 to 12%, outpacing Bengal. West Bengal even lost 3 million informal sector jobs between 2015-16 and 2022-23, while Maharashtra managed to add 2.4 million in the same period. In sum, West Bengal's economy, once robust, has stagnated. Missed opportunities and shifting tides have left it grappling with a diminished role in India's growth.
Now it all comes back to the political violence and social unrest that has caused all of this. So let's talk about it. The story of Bengal's decline cannot be told through economics alone. It is entwined with decades of political turmoil, violence and poor governance. West Bengal has a long history of political violence that predates independence and continued unabated even after 1947. From the Tebhaga peasant uprising in the 1940s to the Naxalite rebellion of the 1960s and 70s, bloodshed became a recurring feature of Bengal's polity. Unfortunately, rather than abating, this culture of violence was often tacitly enabled by those in power, setting the stage for lawlessness and instability that deter investment and disrupt society.
So now we are going to talk about a few notorious incidents that highlight this legacy of political violence. First is the Saibari murders of 1970. In what was one of the most gruesome early post-independence political crimes, CPIM cadres attacked the house of the Sai family, who were Congress supporters, in Bardhaman. 2 young Sai brothers were hacked to death, and in a grotesque act, their mother was made to eat rice smeared with their blood by the attackers. This horror, known as the Saibari incident, became emblematic of West Bengal's political brutality. CPM leaders denied involvement, but the incident left an indelible scar even decades later. It haunts Bengal's politics as a symbol of brutal, unchecked communist violence.
Now, another instance of unbridled violence is Morijhapi massacre of 1979. Shortly after coming to power, the left front government under Jyoti Basu turned on a group of impoverished Hindu refugees, mainly Namasudras, lower castes, who had settled on Morijhapi Island in the Sundarbans. They mostly came because of the ongoing conflict in the newly created state of Bangladesh. This government declared that settlement illegal in a reserve forest. In January 1979, imposed a blockade. Police opened fire on starving refugees. A conservative estimate is that hundreds of men, women, and children died, either shot or perished of hunger, their bodies dumped in rivers. Morijhapi stands as a state-sponsored annihilation of Dalits, one of the worst atrocities in independent India. It revealed that even a communist government could resort to horrific violence against the vulnerable. This forgotten massacre exemplifies how human rights took a backseat to political expediency in Bengal.
Now we're going to move to an incident that happened more recently, that is the Nandigram incident in 2007. In the 2000s, the CPIM government, attempting industrialization, tried to acquire land in Nandigram for a Salim Group SEZ, chemical hub. This triggered a massive farmers' uprising. On March 14, 2007, police moved to reclaim the area. They opened fire on protesters, killing at least 14 villagers and injuring about 70. CPIM cadres were also accused of brutal reprisals in the aftermath. The then CM Buddhadev Bhattacharjee controversially remarked that the protesters had been paid back in the same coin by his partymen. Nandigram shook the nation and further eroded the left front's legitimacy.
Now we come to the more recent history of TMC. What happened when the left went away and the TMC came to power? Well, Mamata Banerjee's TMC came to power in 2011, ending 34 years of left rule. But the violence did not stop. It merely changed color. Under TMC, political rivalry with the left and later BJP frequently turned violent. Numerous cadres on all sides have been killed in turf wars at village level, especially in the rural belts of Birbhum, Purulia, East Midnapur, etc. One chilling episode was the Netai massacre of 2011, just before the left fell, where alleged CPIM goons shot dead 9 villagers. After 2011, reports of TMC workers attacking opposition cadre and vice versa became common.
The culmination was the aftermath of the 2021 assembly elections. Following TMC's sweeping victory in May 2021, large-scale post-poll violence erupted. Clashes between TMC and BJP supporters led to looting, assaults and deaths across several districts. An NHRC probe ordered by the Calcutta High Court found definite and proved allegations that the ruling TMC allowed the violence to continue. At least 55 BJP supporters were murdered and over 300 families fled their homes out of fear. Many victims, even a year later, were still unable to return home or living in fear. The High Court had to order CBI investigation into these incidents. Such lawlessness tarnished Bengal's image nationally, suggesting a breakdown of law and order.
Now we come to the communal violence that has also plagued West Bengal. West Bengal has not been immune to communal strife. In recent years, incidents of Hindu-Muslim clashes have occurred, and it is not only a recent enigma as well. 1946, the Great Calcutta Riot, also stands as a reminder of the undercurrent of communalism that grips Bengal. In recent years, the Boshirat riots of July 2017 was triggered by an offensive Facebook post by a teenager. Mobs went on a rampage in North 24 Parganas. 1 person was killed. Shops and religious sites vandalized, and the area was in turmoil for an entire week. The episode revealed how quickly social peace could fray. Similarly, in Dhulaghar in 2016 saw communal clashes over a procession. Critics accused the administration of sometimes downplaying such incidents to protect vote banks, which further polarizes communities. Now, hand in hand with violence is deep-seated corruption that has plagued West Bengal's governance. For decades under the left front, corruption was often a low-key institutionalized sort. The CPM prided itself on relative integrity at the top. There were a few big-ticket scams attributed to them, during their tenure. However, the system they ran had its own flaws. What they essentially did was politicization of institutions, i.e., police, education cooperatives, and a pervasive patronage network. This laid the ground for what came next.
Under TMC rule since 2011, West Bengal has been rocked by multiple high-profile financial scandals. First, we are going to talk about the Saradha cheat fund scam of 2013. A Ponzi scheme run by the Saradha group collapsed, defrauding 1.7 million depositors across Bengal, Assam and neighbouring states. Small investors, lured by the promises of extraordinary returns, lost an estimated 1200 crores to perhaps rupees 4000 crore in total. The scandal revealed a politico-business nexus. Saradha had lavishly bribed politicians and officials to keep its racket going. The TMC government's response further raised eyebrows. Mamata Banerjee initially announced a Rs 500 crore relief fund for victims. The Supreme Court eventually transferred the case to the CBI, noting severe regulatory failures and possible money laundering. Many TMC leaders and some from Congress and CPIM have since been interrogated or charged in connection with Saradha. The scam dealt a huge blow to public trust. It was the first major corruption scandal to dog the Mamata Banerjee government.
Rose Valley scam, which was unearthed in 2015, was much like the Saradha scam, only it was even larger than Saradha. Rose Valley was another Ponzi firm that collected over 15,000 crores from millions of depositors. Like Saradha, Rose Valley too had political connections and sponsored events. Its fallout extended beyond Bengal to Orissa and Bihar. The Enforcement Directorate found that politicians were bribed with portions of the loot. The Saradha and Rose Valley scams exposed how regulatory oversight was poor in Bengal's financial sector and how cheat fund operators flourished under political patronage. Together, these scams wiped out life savings of countless families, tarnished the state's image, and implicated members of the ruling party in corruption on an epic scale.
Then we come to the SSC recruitment scam in 2021-2022. Perhaps most damaging to the public was the West Bengal School Service Commission scam, wherein thousands of teaching and non-teaching jobs in state schools were allegedly sold for bribes. In 2022, the Enforcement Directorate arrested Partha Chatterjee, then TMC's Secretary General and former Education Minister, for masterminding a bribery racket in teacher recruitment. Raids uncovered over 21 crore rupees in cash from the home of Chatterjee's close-eyed Arpita Mukherjee. Suitcase upon suitcase of notes as well as gold and property deeds indicating vast ill-gotten wealth were found. This caused national outrage as it involved robbing deserving young candidates of jobs in exchange for bribes.
Syndicate Raj and cut money is another evil that plagues West Bengal. Beyond these headline-grabbing scams, everyday corruption has also burgeoned under TMC via what Bengalis call Syndicate Raj. This refers to a cartel of TMC-affiliated contractors and extortionists who control construction supplies and force every builder to buy through them at inflated prices. Originally began under left rule to provide jobs to party youths, syndicates have now metamorphosed into organized extortion rackets with a presence in every sphere of life in West Bengal. Want to construct a house or even rent a shop? One often must pay a cut money, a bribe or commission to the local syndicate linked to the ruling party officials. Even disbursement of government schemes benefits allegedly involved cut money demands. In 2019, public anger rose to a point that Mamata herself had to ask her party members to return cut money taken from citizens. Union Home Minister Amit Shah and PM Modi have repeatedly attacked the cut money culture as a chief culprit behind Bengal's poor business climate.
So today we discussed the reasons behind the decline of West Bengal. Can the decline be arrested? Maybe, but that seems impossible under the current regime.
And not only the regime, I think the culture that has plagued Bengal for so long, first with the left and then with the TMC, this whole politicization of the economy and how people are fighting politically to secure their livelihood. As long as this doesn't change, I don't see much hope.
Anyway, we'll discuss West Bengal more in our future videos. that will be all for us for today. This is me, Sensi Kraken Zero.
And this is Oswald signing off. Thank you for staying with us. Please do not forget to like, comment, and share.
Thank you.